In this tutorial, we will expand on our insurance agent display form from our previous two lectures by adding the functionality to update the selected insurance agent database profile information. This will mean adding a save button to the JSP form that will call our new Struts 2 action. This action will in turn call the new implemented Spring JDBC template method that will update the insurance agent entry row in the MariaDB table. For my YouTube students, there will be a link in the description to my Udemy course where you will be able to download the source code for all the examples. These are the high-level steps we will do so that we can update an insurance agent in the database. First, we will reuse our created project from our previous tutorial. Then we will update the insurance agent display form from our previous tutorial with a save button. We will add an insurance action method to save the updated data to the MariaDB table. And we will test the new JSP form and the action in the Tomcat server with Eclipse. So here we are in Eclipse, and we'll start by copying our last project to a new version. We'll call it CRUD 8. Now we'll search for and replace all versions of CRUD 7 throughout the project. Find a lot of instances, so we'll run it. Now we will do a Maven update. Then we'll run a Maven clean package. And now we'll run it again in the Tomcat server. Our list agents page looks good. Our update insurance agent page looks good. Now we're going to add a save or a submit button so that the administrators can change any of these details. We'll obviously fix our cancel button. So let's go to our register page. First, we'll go and add the missing property for button label cancel. We'll add a new property for a submit button. Now going back to our form, we are going to change this to the submit button, and we are going to change the action as well. Actually, we'll just remove the action link completely since we already have the save agent action. We're still going to need a way to cancel or go back to our previous form without updating it. So we're going to add back our cancel button, but it's not going to be part of our form, so it's going to be a direct action link. So we'll add it back outside of the form. And we see here it's going to call a new cancel action with a URL variable and the agent ID as input. So we will have to define our URL variable. We will do it up here. And since we are going to call out a new cancel agent action, we have to go back to our struts XML and specify it in there. This is the cancel action that would simply forward to the list action. And now, since we've defined the cancel methods in our Struts XML configuration file, we can add it into our agent action. And as we can see here, the logic for save and cancel are exactly the same, which means we're ready to go for our next steps, and that is to go to our Spring JDBC service class and add a new method that will update an insurance agent in the database. Well, it looks like we have an interface and a service, and we've got some duplication code here, and our service implementation implements the service interface. So let's try and delete this class. Now we go back to our agent service interface and we add the update method, update agent, add unimplemented methods. And here is our unimplemented method, which means we have to get our logic in there that will use the JDBC template to update an insurance agent. And pasting it in, so we use an update query and we pass in the list of parameters from the agent that we get. We map the types and then we call the JDBC template update method with query parameters and types. And we do not return any values. So this is a simple update to a database row. Before we can add it to our input form, we will go back to our main method driver and add a test method in here. So looking at our test driver, we set up our Spring config, we get the agent service interface, we get all states, we create a new agent and print it, we get the list of all agents and print it, and we get a selected agent and print out the values. So let's just run it again. Here is the values for agent ID 3. So what we'll do now is add a test to update agent ID 3. Let's see, what was his middle initial? His middle initial is A, so let's change it to B. And let's test an update method. And we'll print out the agent after the update. Let's see what happens if we run it now. Here is our update insurance output. Middle initial B. And when we get it back from the database, it also has a middle initial B. So our test has been successful and we are now ready to add it into our register.jsp update logic. So let's go back to register.jsp. And we see it calls the save agent method through a post of all the agent details. So let's have a look in our Struts XML. Here is our save agent and the method is save. So now we can add the logic that we had in our test driver in here. So this will call the update agent method. Now we need to check if we actually have an agent selected, and this is not an empty form first. And let's log the updated agent as well. So this is our save method, and we've already tested that the update agent works. So now we can rerun the application and test the update from the form. We'll select Mr. Derek Campos, and we will change his middle initial to A. And there we see that he has been updated. We can make sure by checking in the database. Let's run this select statement. And here we see that his middle initial was updated in the database. So in conclusion, we now have an updated form that allows us to update a selected insurance agent. In our next tutorial, we will add new functionality that will allow us to add or insert a new insurance agent. And if you notice here, there is probably a bug in the active and expense form display, because if we look at our SQL results, see that we have agent active yes no and agent expense enabled yes no, and we've got a discrepancy between what is in the database, and we will look at the bug in the next tutorial.